The videos in which I suggest letting it be, that is, give up, let it go, give space, give silence, tend to work very well. Why? Because there is truly a desire within you for me to convince you to do what makes you feel good about yourself. Because we are going to differentiate. One thing is that in certain situations, you can't help but chase the person. And a very different thing is that you like this, or it makes you feel good. I mean, unless we are dealing with a game of conquest in which you are deliberately pursuing and this person is allowing themselves to be pursued, and somehow this reinforces you. And usually here we find ourselves more in the assignment of roles. That is, a man who is going to conquer the woman, and she is, let's say she holds back a little because it's part of the game, but it gives her an incentive. It's like, let's see if you catch me. There. Pursuing can be something fun, exciting. Because I also see that it's a game for two. But I'm talking about this kind of pursuing that is inevitable and makes you feel bad about yourself. That kind of pursuing where in the end you write to the person, you look for them, and you feel just as bad as if you raided the fridge in the middle of a diet, as if you drank that glass when you were trying not to drink, as if you stayed up late when you promised yourself to go to bed early and make the most of the next day. In other words, it's that giving in to believing, even though it's not what I want, because it's not what will make me feel good about myself. I feel like I can't avoid it because the anxiety overwhelms me, the nervousness overwhelms me, the fear of going through a hard time because I feel like this person and I are drifting apart, that we're not in communication. I want to know about them. I'm sad. I can't stand suffering. I can't stand my discomfort. And then I go and contact you, and I contact you from a position of desperation and from a position where in many cases, I don't even know for sure. I don't have the certainty that you will be happy to hear from me. I don't know how you're going to react many times, right? It's like I send a message and pray, please don't leave me on read. Give me a response. Give me a response that invites me, that thanks me, even if it's just for the effort of being the one to reach out again. Well, from that position, don't do it. Don't do it. One of the things I always try to convey to you is we believe that some things influence and others don't. That is to say, truly, sometimes we overlook that the state I'm in when I do things doesn't influence. That person doesn't know it. And I try to make you see that it does influence, that somehow the energy is transmitted. That person does know it. When you go to reach out to someone, let it be. Because when you imagine that person receiving news from you, you imagine excitement, you imagine joy. Know that it will be well received without a doubt. If the only reason you contact is to satisfy a craving for the person because you believe you need it, that doesn't work out well. When you find yourself feeling nervous, anxious, sad, when you think you need to know, you need it for yourself because this person responding or giving you news will tell you, okay, we are in communication, right? I can feed the part of me that clings to the vain hope that this will get better, right? When you feel like that, when you feel desperate, when you think you have a need from there, that's when more than ever you need to give hope. Space to the person. I don't know what happened. Come on. Oh, I wish Pepito and Julita would pay more attention to me because I feel like lately I'm the one more attentive. I'm the one more on top of things, and this doesn't make me feel good, right? But I want attention. And the way I have to go seek attention, like that child who looks for their mother, mom, 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 mom. Well, really, when you go and the way you want to receive more attention from the person is by contacting them more often, you don't realize that you are depriving them of the opportunity for that person to seek you out. Engrave this in your mind. When you want to receive more attention from someone, I would like this person to write to me more. I would like them to seek me out more, to call me more. Don't seek them out. Don't call them. Give them space. The way to receive more attention from the other person is for that person to receive less attention from us. And the funny thing about all this is that giving space for the other person to seek you out is incredibly difficult. Until you try it for the first time, you realize how wonderfully well it works. You realize that it works much better than all the little tricks, deceptions, and theatrics or attempts or pursuits you've tried in the past, right? In your life, right? And suddenly you say, oh my goodness, I didn't expect it, right? For example, when I have a consultation, right? And with this person, look, what you're going to do now is simply not seek them out in any way. And if you want to reinforce this, then don't look at their stories on social media. Try to reinforce this energetically as well by not being focused on the person. Focus on yourself and give it some time. It's just that I know, and here the debate begins, right? Because the debate is the following. The same thing you would probably do if you and I could debate now. It would be, I know that if I don't contact this person, they won't contact me, or try it. But Amanda, I already know, I doubt that they will ever say anything to me again, because I also know that these days will be a test. Amanda, I know that this person is very proud and will probably focus on themselves, try it. If I don't talk to them, I know there are more people there because I notice on social media they will talk to someone else. Try it, try it, try it. Really, you don't lose anything. I mean, if you stop to think coldly about what you lose, which in many cases is not much that you're risking, you realize that you can give it a try. It's like, well, don't believe me, check it yourself. Just do it whenever you want. You say, this person is paying little attention to me. This person lately is more focused on themselves. I'm the one who's chasing. I realize it's hard for me to keep the conversation going. They no longer suggest meeting up. I would like them to suggest meeting up. Instead of overthinking how you can make your return, how you can start a conversation to make it more interesting for them, what you can send them, what post you can make to catch their attention. I just ask you to, for once, set aside all your hesitations. Don't watch the video and 2 hours later say no. But I feel bad. I have to do it. No, you don't have to do it. You don't have to fall into weakness. You don't have to fall into vulnerability. What I truly ask of you is to verify if what I'm telling you is true. That in all those cases, the most effective thing, and that it will also surprise you how well it works, okay? I realize that this person is not giving me the attention I want. In fact, they are barely paying attention to me. What am I going to do? Ignore it. I'm not going to pay any attention to it. Neither try nor think about it. I will give it space. Physical space. Energetic space. Space for action. I will not seek them out. I will not be attentive. Nothing. Wait. And in the vast majority of cases, in all those you argued were impossible, you will see what happens. And by giving that margin, that space, this person on their own will give you what you wanted, which is ultimately to receive more. They will pay more attention to you. You will regain their attention. It's as simple or difficult depending on how you see it, as it is. When it comes to executing it, obviously it's straightforward. The difficulty that arises is the lack of willpower that you have. It's about truly trusting that this works, having a little faith in me and having that willpower to really, when you get the doubts, the impulses, the I need, the I want, the I'm anxious. You're very nervous, you're fine, go do something else. Go for a run, meet up with a friend, go shopping, organize your closet, bake a cake, paint a picture. Start watching a series someone recommended, pick up a book, whatever it is, but don't do it from that place truly. I mean, there's nothing worse, less effective than reaching out to someone when we feel, I can't, I don't need. What will probably happen is that it won't turn out as you expect. You'll feel bad about yourself, and that feeling of anxiety, of distress, will increase when it's not necessary. Many times we drive situations to the point of imbalance when it's not necessary. And this is simply about starting to practice it. That is to say, the first time, as I say, it's horrible. It's very hard. You think it won't work. You have many anxiety attacks. You remember more, and it's difficult. But once you verify, you establish this as a fact. That is, how do I act? I mean, When I feel dirty, what do? I take a shower. When I'm hungry, what do? I eat, right? So when I want someone to pay more attention to me, I take it away. So I have to make it intrinsic. I have to get used to it. Why? Because that way, when I meet people in my life, and you can apply this not just to romantic partners, okay? This, as you often ask me, Amanda, this would also apply to friendships, to family, to whoever you want. That is to say, it's like that. I mean, instead of going there, I want you to pay attention to me. No, 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 no. My space is the fact that you don't hear from me is the only thing I need for you to realize I exist and seek me out. And as I was saying, I got a bit sidetracked. Many situations wouldn't have to become so unbalanced if we had this from the start and if we applied it from the beginning. If it were our modus operandi. Why? Because at the beginning, when we meet someone, it's very easy for the attraction to become a bit uneven on one side or the other. This sometimes depends on, I have a date that seems very good to me. The person excites me. I like them, just like the next one. And suddenly they tell me things that don't quite add up. I see something I don't like as much, and maybe my attraction decreases a bit. Or I meet this person, and they are on vacation and have all the time in the world, and we communicate a lot, and suddenly this person goes back to work, gives me less attention, which makes me start to feel anxious, and I become more clingy. That is to say, there are sometimes very innocent situations that cause the balance to tip more towards one side or the other. But here, initially, nothing happens as long as we are a person who knows how to deal with these situations. That is to say, I don't give more energy than necessary. I don't get used to being a person who fantasizes, and then I have certain mechanisms. And as I say, I understand a bit of human psychology, and I say, okay, I know that if this becomes a little unbalanced, and the way I have now is to start chasing you, going after you, what will happen is that you will distance yourself. This will become horribly unbalanced, and I will idealize you, and I will fall in love, not because you deserve it, but because I will fall in love myself, and I will belittle myself, and I will suffer. When all of this could have been solved if I know, okay, this has become a bit unbalanced. You're not giving me the attention I want. I don't pay any attention to you. What's happening? That probably in most cases, this makes the person come back. What happens if they don't come back? Well, what happens is that I'm doing what's best for me. I'm not wasting energy in the wrong places because then I have to justify my actions. I'm not falling in love with you. If this isn't going to lead us anywhere, then I'm going to do myself the huge favor of not even investing and falling in love with you because I'm not interested. Because it's suffering for the sake of suffering. So as I say, I would like you to understand this. This is something that works and is the right thing to do in the situation when I face it. So I make it mine, I make it mine. What do I do when someone pays less attention to me? I withdraw attention, give them space, and focus on myself. And this works absolutely, truly, wonderfully, indeed, wonderfully well. There are certain qualities that make some people more attractive in love compared to others, and they are not the ones often thought of. One of these, without a doubt, and one of the most relevant, is having emotional control. So as long as you are the type of person who, upon realizing that this person is paying less attention to you, you can't help but chase after them because you want more from them, because you believe it's what you need, because it's what comes naturally to you, because you don't want games, because you don't want such problems. You lack emotional control. The moment you start to gain emotional control, your relationships will change significantly. And not just your relationships. In terms of their success, but also in terms of the great suffering you will often save yourself from in relationships that aren't worth it. Look, if I, for example, have had a relationship that made me very happy, that contributed a lot to my life, and at a certain point it ends and I suffer. Well, that's life. And sometimes it's worth bearing the burden of grief, of loss, for something that has contributed to me. But to go on suffering because I've fallen into a trap mentally, and I've been chasing, and I've fallen in love with the idea, and I've had to justify it. It's not worth it, really. It's not. So that's why these aren't games. This is emotional control. So just as you have control over other areas of your life, just as you don't fall into impulses, right? When you want to achieve, I want to pass a competitive exam. So as I say, I don't fall into the impulse of doing other things all day. I focus on studying, even though it's not what I feel like doing. It's not what my body asks for, but I know it's the right thing. So emotional control in these situations is not a game of manipulation. That is to say, I know that going after you is not going to make me feel good. And I know that going after you when you're not showing me interest is not appropriate. What I'm going to do is distance myself. So I'm going to do what makes me feel good about myself. I mean, instead of acting on the impulse to go after you, I choose the emotional control and willpower to say, no, I'm going to do what works and what, on top of that, makes me feel good afterward. It makes me feel proud of who I am, right? So, well, I hope this video truly helps you, that you liked it. If that's the case and you're not yet subscribed to the channel, of course, I invite you to do so, to hit the bell, because I would love for us to see each other again very soon. And until then, as always, I send you a big kiss.